We have a real connection. I've never experienced anything like it. I'm thinking of ending things.
Huh?
What?
Did you say something?
I don't think so.
Weird.
Identity is not a solid thing. It's something that is very much free-flowing throughout the course of the film. And just within your preparation for these roles, I'm curious just how that wound up impacting your preparation.
Well, it was a kind of, funny one for me because I am nothing in this film. But then maybe we all are kind of a mix of a load of nothing and a load of everything. So
you sound like Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah. I love, yeah.
Nothing. That's all there is.
Did it demand a different approach? Like, could you approach these characters like you would any other role, or did it take a specific change?
No, well, because of that, there was nothing, there was no ground, you were playing with different tools and you were being inspired in a different way, and you were coming into the character with a different, it wasn't anything, it wasn't like an identity, it was more like textures. It was textures of an idea of something rather than something exactly.
It just felt like everything was fair game, but it was totally in its own world category in comparison to anything I've ever done or ever will do again. Yeah, the I guess technical aspects that you have to learn sometimes as an actor and all of that, and you read a script and you think, here's that movie moment, There was none of that at all.
No car crash.
No, it was just like, just reach inside and see what comes up at any given moment.
I am so glad Jake has found someone.
One of the things that I worked on that may be different from the book is that I was trying to sort of establish an actual relationship dynamic between Jessie and Jessie, those two characters. So what they were focusing on was the relationship, which is, they didn't need much help from me. They're very, very good, and
Sure.
they found it, and it was a good dynamic between them. They're very good together. The chemistry is very believable, even in its tension.
But there's just something profoundly wrong here.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Where the tension in this movie comes from is just the escalation in surrealness and in just the absurd, but you're also playing it entirely straight. There's no actual necessary break from it. So just like day-to-day set, is that a certain challenge in its own way?
The pace of it was maybe challenging, but I think also added to what we made, because there wasn't time or the mental energy to really get ahead of yourself, and we didn't have the time to rehearse. And so all of these discoveries were brand new, and even because the scenes were so long, it was impossible to find your way back to something that felt really good a few takes ago.
I don't really bother myself with any expectations. I never do, and I didn't in this case, and I don't think about genre. I mean, there are a couple of genre things that carried over from the book because I like them, but I feel like they're somewhat subverted in the movie. Without talking too specifically about what they are, I feel like I'm not using them that way. But yeah, so I don't think about the genre at all. I think about
Gotcha.
what the dynamic is between the characters.
I feel like I was seeing them as they were, seeing them as they will be, seeing them after they're gone.
I'm curious just what it was about Ian Reid's book that you initially read, clicked with, and decided I need to make this into a film.
I was looking for something that I could possibly direct, and I read it, and I really liked the dreaminess of it and the dream logic and the irrationality of it, and I found that very compelling. and then it was the fact that it was very small, that it was contained, that it was 4 characters and 3 locations, and seemed like something I might be able to get financing for.
You've mentioned that you had the intention to direct it. Does that have an influence over how you approach a script?
Yeah, it could. Certainly, if it was a more expansive book I was adapting, it would. But this was, like I said, it felt like it wasn't going to cost very much.
Sure.
And so I didn't think about it when I was writing it. And it takes place in a car, you know, and it's talking, a lot of talking.
I'm thinking of
You
ending.
can stay here.
Excuse me?
You don't have to go.
I don't have to go where?
Forward.
And actually, one specific scene that I wanted to ask you about is the movie within the movie that is directed by Robert Zemeckis. And it's a strange reference, if not because he actually does tackle some of the interesting themes that you tackle in your own films, like just experimentation just with form, on obviously manipulation of time. And I'm curious just kind of where that came, what inspired that, where'd that come from?
I wanted to put a name. I wanted to end that movie within the movie with a credit, which wasn't written into the script. And so the assistant editor pulled something out of offline and stuck it on there as a temp thing. And it happened to be the end credit for Contact. And,
Okay.
And as soon as we saw it, we all burst out laughing. It was just, there was no expectation that it was going to be funny even. But it was so funny that we tried to get his permission to use his name, and he gave us permission. That's the story.
That's awesome. I mean, this movie is going to be released on Netflix. It's the first movie that you've made that has gone to a streaming service. And what's partially interesting about that to me is the fact that as soon as somebody watches this film, and this includes myself, I just immediately went back into the film to start dissecting it and start trying to understand it. And I'm curious just about how you just perceive the ability of audiences to do that, but also just how engaged you are with how audiences respond to your movies.
I mean, I'm engaged in the sense that I like to see what people think about it, but I also don't want to dictate what people think about it. So I like to put enough in the movies to generate different reactions. And I feel like based on early screenings we've had of this movie, that there is a lot of that. There's a lot of conversation that comes out of the screenings that we've had. So, you know, I'm all in favor of that. And the fact that you can watch it again on Netflix or watch it, you know, 10 months from now again on Netflix I think it's kind of cool. And I hope that people are interested enough in it that they want to go back and check out other aspects of the movie.
Maybe this is how it was always going to end.